What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be talking about a series review. For those of you who are new here, welcome. I talk about all things books and I usually put out videos every Sunday and Wednesday. I have a slight unhealthy obsession with books and I love to share that obsession with all of you. Hopefully you're here because you just needed a break, wanted to talk a little bit about books, or are as obsessed with books as I am. Now, one of my newfound favorite authors of all time is Lucy Score. And for those of you who have been here before, you know I recently read the series that she had written, the Riley Thorne series, which is basically about a woman who has psychic powers and how she ends up getting hot and steamy with our detective on the scene. That series was amazing. I also read By a Thread this year, earlier in February, as I had talked about in my February reading wrap-up. So that being said, I knew I had to see what this Knockemout series that everyone has been talking about is all about. So that is what we're going to be talking about today. For those of you who are returning, thank you for being here. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for sharing this obsession that I have with reading. That being said, I am going to throw my glasses on real quick because it is a little bright and the screen is starting to bother my eyeballs. But without further ado, let's jump into the video. Okay, first and foremost, I could cuddle this baby boy all day long. Now, fun fact, these books are also available on Kindle Unlimited for free for those of you who have Kindle subscription. So if you are interested in reading the books by Lucy Score, but you don't want to go pick up a physical copy, that is an option. It's also now available on Audible, where it was not before last year. It is now available via Audible if you want to consume this book via listening. I did a combination of physically reading this book, physically reading the Kindle, as well as listening to the book. This one, I think actually I did 100% physical read only. The second book, I did a combination of Audible and physically reading it. And then the third one, again, I did a combination of physically reading it and doing the Audible. I loved these books. Barnes & Noble's also has a special edition of this book, as it is the December season. If you guys celebrate by getting gifts for your loved ones, great series to gift as well. It's absolutely stunning. And these books are gorgeous. The first book in the story is called Things We Never Got Over. This particular book is following our main female lead character, who happens to be the twin sister of a woman who is an absolute mess. Her town hates her, everyone around her hates her, and she basically cons her twin sister, who is about to get married, has her life all settled, to come out and basically bail her out the day before her wedding. So of course, lo and behold, our lovely main female lead, Naomi, shows up in this town to get her sister out of a pickle, only to be duped by her own sister, who ends up stealing all her things and leaving her smack dab in the middle of Knockemout, Virginia, along with a niece that she did not know about. Waylay is a 12-year-old young girl who is in this series. Now, normally I don't like kids in books. I feel like they don't really add much value except for showcasing that maybe our main hot dad or hot mom character, single parent, just has amazing personality and they're a great parent, but the kid lacks real value. Two authors that I think write kids well. One is Lucy Score. Waylay's character was absolutely wonderful. It was so nice to see her coming into her own. It was so nice to see her teenage years, preteen years in this book. It was really nice to see how she responded to a new person just being thrown into her life after having a life that's so full of turmoil and confusion. This woman knows how to write a kid. Now, the other woman that I think knows how to write a kid is Elsie Silver. I absolutely love the second book in the Elsie Silver Chestnut Springs series. That one is Grumpy Sunshine, and I absolutely adore the little boy in that book. He is so freaking cute and so precious, and I love it. I love his personality. I love the nonsense he gets into. But coming back to this, so those are our main female leads, if you will. She also has a town filled with quirky characters, definitely gave a little bit of that Gilmore vibe in terms of the quirky characters. You have amazing side characters throughout the course of this book, and the other main female plot leads in this book end up being the series continuation female leads for the other 2 books in the series. You also get introduced to the Knox brothers. Now, the Knox brothers are the main male protagonists in this series. This particular one is following Knox. He is the epitome of grumpy. He is also the epitome of basically being that guy who's rich, unattainable, but doesn't actually want to flaunt that he is rich. He wins the lottery, he has a ton of money, he doesn't know what to do with it. He's basically trying to buy other people's favors, affections, and doesn't really know how to communicate, but heart of gold and definitely a man's man. Knox and Naomi's story is absolutely adorable. I think everyone needs to read this book. I literally cried, laughed, screamed, kicked. The spice in this was excellent. For you who might want a spicy book, I would say this is a solid 3-star spice book. The spice is well written. It is enjoyable to read. Usually I skip a lot of the spice scenes, but I actually enjoyed the spice between these 2 characters because they really develop the relationship between the 2 characters before they throw them into bed together. So I really enjoyed that. It is open door, so if that's something that's going to bother you, just be aware. You can totally skip the spice scenes and still get the wonderfulness of this book. Perfect for the fall, perfect for the holiday season. Such warm vibes. Loved this book. This was a solid 4.5, 5-star read for me, and I would definitely recommend this to everyone. Just solid book. The other fun thing about this book is the fact that there's actually a mystery component to it. There is a question of where did that twin sister who just disappeared go? There is a question of, some small town political drama going on. There's also some question marks about gang leaders and things like that happening in this book. So there is something exciting happening in it, which also adds a little bit of that sense of high stakes, which I really loved about this book. It also has great found family vibes. So if you're into found family, that's definitely something that's wonderful to enjoy. Also, Naomi's best friend in this book, his name is Steph. He is gay. He is the best friend ever. Reading Steph's character and his relationship with Naomi, I ate that up. This was probably, I originally gave this a 4-star, but I think this is a solid 5-star for me. I really, 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 truly loved this book. It is unfortunately still listed at 4 stars on Goodreads because I'm not 100% sure where I'm landing. But if it's not quite a 5-star, it's definitely like 4.5 to 4.75 for me. I absolutely adored this book. And just look at the beauty of this Barnes & Noble's copy. I also like the fact that it comes with the inbuilt bookmark as well, but loved this book. So that was book 1 in the series. Then we jump into book 2. So let's talk about the main leads in book 2. You still get a little bit of Naomi and Knox, which is great. You still get a little bit of Waylay, which is absolutely great. You still get the dogs, you still get the family, you still get the best friend. So all of that aspect is really great. I like the fact that the characters are peppered in throughout the entirety of the story. This book follows the second brother. This follows Nash. Nash is the cop, the main cop. He's the security, not the security. He is the sheriff of the town. He basically is the one who deals with all the BS that happens in the town. Unfortunately, something happens in the beginning of the first book of, something happens in the first book of the series that puts Nash in a position where he's now dealing with some trauma. So he's having some difficulty being himself, really finding motivation to continue doing what he's doing. He's lost, he's depressed, he's recovering from the thing that happened in the first book. So it's just a lot for him to handle. And in walks Lena. Lena is a fierce main female lead character. She basically works for insurance and she is given the task of basically finding things that have been lost. Now, a lot of times the situations she gets herself into are not the safest, and she definitely does put herself in some risque situations, and she's definitely very tough. She knows how to take care of herself. She is also a character that has an interesting past. As a child, she suffered from a heart attack and actually almost died and has since had to deal with her body. She is also very, very, very much a girly girl from the standpoint that she loves her designer. She likes her nice clothes. She likes her nice shoes. She needs her closet space. But she's also kick-ass as well. She's always walking around sporting a great manicure and a great pedicure, and she loves her girl talk. She loves hanging out with the main ladies of the Knockemout series, which are Naomi and Sloane outside of Lena. And it's just so fun to see their dynamic as well. Another fun plot twist in all of this is that the whole reason why Lena is in town is she has a task that brings her to Knockemout, but also she happens to be Knox's ex and now is back because they have developed a friendship over the years and they're quite close. And so the steamy romance between Nash and Lena is also very entertaining and enjoyable to read. I would not say that this book was as good as the first book. I definitely thought this was more of a 4-star, solid 4-star read for me. I did absolutely adore this book. I love Nash's character. He's such a good guy and it's just so heartwarming to read. You also still get the high stakes because there's still some crazy things going on, still some gang stuff going on, still some just dangerous things going on, and the characters do find themselves in some interesting situations. You also have your classic romance plots where the male just makes some stupid communication errors and doesn't know how to communicate appropriately with the main female lead, which leads to drama between the two characters. That part did irritate me a little bit in this book, but I do think overall it was very, very well written, and I would definitely recommend this book as well. And again, the beautiful, beautiful painted edges, which are gorgeous. So loved this book. Then we move on to the last book. Now the last book doesn't have a Morgan brother, but we basically have a Morgan family member. So Lucian is a guy who grew up in Knockemout. He had a very abusive childhood. His father is in prison for all the things that he pulled, and his mom is suffering from victim mentality. And Lucian was always put in the middle of the nonsense between his parents. He also grew up to the girl next door who happens to be Sloane, and they were obsessed with each other throughout childhood. She was basically his safe place. Her parents kind of took him in and made him feel welcome and that he was part of the family. And he grew up alongside the Morgan brothers. So he's best friends with Knox and Nash. He comes back into town and trying to figure out what's going on between the two brothers and the drama there, as well as just being close to family and thinking about selling his childhood home. And he's there kind of present throughout the entirety of the series. He's brooding, he's angry, he's frustrated. He doesn't know how to share his feelings. Any of this ringing a bell? He and Sloane, the main female lead character in this book, end up having a falling out around the time that they were 16 and 17. And essentially what ends up happening is Lucian feels that she broke his trust, and she in turn has never really let go of the pain and disappointment in him just kind of disappearing out of her life. They have a lot of animosity towards each other until we get into this book. It is a childhood second chance romance. It is absolutely lovely. There are many times you want to smack Lucian across the face. and get extremely protective over Sloane. He can say some things that are a little disturbing. There were things about that main character that really bothered me, so I did struggle a little bit with Lucian's character. I'm not gonna lie, but I still love the brooding. I still love what he represents. He is also very rich, and he basically topples empires. He gets behind supporting electoral candidates, and he basically gets them into office and supports them that way. In a race, he can also erase someone very quickly. He's also dealt in some illegal, shady business here and there, and he's just on this side of the law, if you know what I mean. And it really, really is interesting to see his relationship with Nash, who happens to be the main cop of Knockemout. But they have a lovely relationship, and it's hilarious to see. Sloane, Naomi, and Lena also have a wonderful, wonderful relationship, and you see each of those character relationships develop throughout the course of the books as well. So for example, Naomi and Knox's story continues in the second book, and Lena and Nash's story continues in this book. Also, there are bonus epilogues that have now been written for all of these books if you are interested in the next steps for these characters, which is absolutely fun and amazing to read as well. It's also really beautiful to see little tidbits of Lucian kind of opening up and seeing him become this more open person, something that you can actually appreciate versus just being a jackass. So that was, pardon my language, so that was also fun to see. Also, Sloane is a spicy little librarian. She is so funny. She is so spunky. She has so much spark, and she loves to be that nerd with her nose in a book, and she's my kind of girl, let me just say. She is all about her sweatpants and her PJs. She dresses like a kid, and she runs the Knockemout library. She was also the first person to offer Naomi a job when she first showed up in town, and got dumped with her sister's daughter. So it was a very interesting read. It was definitely a lot of fun. Lucian's character at certain points did really bother me. The communication between Sloane and Lucian also got a little overwhelming after a point in time, but I really liked the fact that you get the childhood flashbacks, you get a little bit of the history of what happened between them. You can see where the love is still there. It just needs to be brought up to the surface. This book also starts with a tragedy, which is kind of where Sloane and Lucian start trying to make some peace, and that is kind of what drives them to be closer, especially when Sloane's mom kind of says, hey, I need you guys to stop your bickering. They really make an effort at it. Overall, just a really fun read. I really, really loved all three of the male leads in this series. I definitely will say Knox was probably my favorite, followed by Nash, and then followed by Lucian. But I will say the female leads are all fun too. Naomi is so cute. I absolutely adore Lena. I think Lena's so powerful, so strong, and just so much fun and such a badass to read. And Sloane is just hilarious as well. I would love to see this series made into a TV show series, a movie series, whatever it may be. I just think there's so much they can do with it. The casting could be so much fun. But definitely recommend the reads on this book and the rest of them. This book I would probably give, again, a solid 4 stars. It's not quite a 5-star for me because some of the things that Lucian says and does, but overall great series. And I really like the fact that all the crazy drama regarding the gangs and like the illegal activity happening in the town is kind of wrapped up with a pretty bow as well. You also get a little bit of that high stakes in this series, and you really get to see the men and the women kind of come together through the course of these novels. I also love the fact that Steph, the best friend of Naomi, who shows up in the first book, is there throughout the entirety of the series. It's just such a fun read, and I strongly recommend everyone sink their teeth into it. Again, this is the beautiful, 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 stunning copy that was sold by Barnes & Nobles. They still have copies right now, so if you are in the market to get a great series for a loved one, this is it. This is your series. I'm telling you, these are great. They have such great vibes for the holidays, for the fall. They're also summer reads because they do take place in the summertime. Can't really go wrong with this series. It's just going to add a smile to anyone's face, I personally feel, if you're into romance and small town vibes. That being said, that does bring me to the conclusion of this series review. I would give this series overall a solid 4.5 stars. Definitely a series I'm very, very thankful to have on my shelf. And once again, a smash hit by Lucy Score. I definitely see myself picking up more of her books throughout the course of the next few months and throughout the course of next year. So far, I haven't been disappointed by anything she has written, and I do have the Christmas fix on my TBR for this December. So I'm excited to get into that. For those of you who are new here, thank you so much for joining me. If you made it this far into the video, let me know what you thought. If you've read the series before, definitely leave me a comment. And let's have everyone put a picture of a boot in the comments if you actually made it this far. For those of you who are back joining me, thank you so much for being here. I hope this inspires your TBR collection, or if you've read the book and you just wanted to see my reactions, let me know what you guys thought of the books. I absolutely adore this series. If you see yourself coming back and you are new here, or if you are someone who is returning but has not yet subscribed, definitely consider hitting that subscribe button and that notification bell. I put out videos every Wednesday and Sunday for bookish related content with a smattering of randomness here and there. And I'm very much looking forward to continuing sharing this wonderful world of reading with all of you. With that being said, have a lovely morning, evening, or afternoon wherever you are, and a happy, happy holiday season to all of you. Bye, guys.